Yo! What up, though?
I got to talk. I gotta tell what I feel. Gotta talk about my life as I see it.
All right, then. It's time for you to bring it to the table.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
Street Beat.
Yeah.
With Tony B.
For the next hour, Tony B will give you a chance to tackle local, national, and international issues that affect your community.
Street Beat. Street Beat. Tony.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of Street Beat. It's me, your host, Tony B. Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is going to be our live broadcast from the Best Starts for Kids virtual summit. We're going to be here through Thursday providing you with interviews of Best Starts for Kids champions, staff, community partners, session speakers, virtual gallery walk hosts. Now, all these things are going to make sense to you. Trust me, by the time that we're done, you're going to have a really good understanding of what's taking place here. You'll have the opportunity to learn about the incredible work that's being done to support the babies, the kids, the youth, and the families in King County. Welcome to the first annual Best Starts for Kids Summit. Joining me will be your actual host of this event. He'll be here all the way through Thursday, maybe even through Friday. Mr. Reginald Cole. Reginald, how are you?
Doing well. Also, along with me, Jessica Cafferty will be co-hosting the event throughout the week. We'll be doing live updates each morning to get the day started.
Okay. Well, Reginald, this is going to be a big week, man. A lot going on this week. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, most definitely. So again, name is Reginald B. Cole. I'm the Stopping the School to Prison Pipeline program manager, along with Zach Davis, and been with Best Starts for Kids for about 3 years now. Grew up and live here in Skyway, and been doing this work for about 10 years now, working with youth in schools, through nonprofits, and really just trying to make a difference in the community.
All right, and are we waiting for Valerie? Excuse me. I think we're in right now. And Jessica, are you with us?
Good morning. I'm here. How are you doing?
Jessica, under the circumstances, I say that as we are all under COVID-19, I'm fantastic. Welcome, Jessica Cafferty, to the program and the other co-host, along with Reginald, for Best Starts for Kids. Jessica, I'm feeling great this morning. You looking forward to this week?
We're so looking forward to this week. We've got a great lineup of wonderful partners and speakers and awesome events. So really excited.
And Jessica, same deal. Why don't you just give us a little bit of background information about who you are?
Sure. So my name is Jessica Cafferty, and I'm the childcare policy lead for King County. I also get to be the master of ceremony in partnership with Reginald, which is just a really fun piece of my job that I get to do for this summit. I've been with Best Starts for a little over 3 years, and now my job is mostly focused on supporting the county and thinking about how we increase access and affordability of childcare.
All right, let's both of you, and let's initially start. For anyone who may be unfamiliar about Best Starts for Kids, the King County initiative, let's talk about that. Best Starts for Kids. How would you briefly describe Best Starts for Kids? Reginald, do you want to tackle that?
I'll start off and then I'll let Jessica close that one out. So Best Starts for Kids, we're a levy that has funded programs all throughout King County. We have programs spanning from prenatal through early adulthood. As I mentioned, I'm on the Stopping the School to Prison Pipeline team, and that falls within our 5 to 24 team. So it's kind of zooming into that. Within each one of those teams, we have various strategy areas. So the one that I speak on, within that strategy area, we also then have multiple funding streams that we put through. So for instance, we have a pilot that's doing work over at Westfield South Center Mall. We have work called Community Supports that's working with 12 to 24-year-olds to really not only just prison pipeline piece, but also really build that school to life success. So thinking of that, zooming in to just that set of that strategy area and those set of programs, from prenatal to 5 to 24, community, homelessness, there's a vast spread of programs all across King County, really trying to serve our youth, young adults, families, and communities as best as possible. Jessica, you want to add any more to that?
I mean, I think that's a great intro to what Best Starts is. Really, our goal is thinking about moving upstream and supporting kids and families and communities so that we can all be happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. And really, when we think about that, we know that for so long we've sort of pushed research, reducing the bad, minimizing harm, and that is important. But also for long-term change and for a thriving community, we know we need to also be investing in what's good. And so that's kind of what we're about, is thinking about how do we build on what's good? How do we partner with community where there's such wisdom and strength? And how do we rethink sort of a mindset that's focused on way down the line when things go wrong, where we step in and start thinking about how do we promote what's really good from the very beginning.
All right, you're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. As I mentioned earlier, we are broadcasting live. This is the start. This is the first annual Best Starts for Kids Summits, Communities Building Impact. I'm just excited to bring to you an entire week of networking, peer-to-peer learning, and updates on what's next for King County's Best Starts for Kids. Again, the hosts of the program joining me, Reginald Cole and Jessica Cafferty. And how did y'all end up as hosts for this? I know you got to be excited about it. I've looked at the lineup. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. But anything like this, that's this big, that's this size, that has the impact that this is going to have on our community, has to have somebody there to tell us what's going on. That would be y'all. How did you end up as host of this event?
That's a great question. I think Reginald and I, we love this work, and we both had the opportunity to see lots of different angles of it. And again, this work is so much just led by amazing community partners, and we get the honor of supporting those folks. And we're probably the extroverts of the group. Reginald, do you have a better theory than that about how we ended up as hosts?
I'll definitely agree with what you said. I think another piece that really adds to that is Best Starts for Kids. Our team really represents folks that have come across just a diverse background, everything from identity to the work that we've done prior to coming into Best Starts for Kids. So as I mentioned before, I was working here in the community doing direct service, helping students as a life coach, helping them with college access, just from various walks. So I feel like that's a really major strength of our team, is that as we're working on putting out bodies of work, as we're working on putting out contracts, so on and so forth, our team does a really good job of embodying the community as much as possible.
All right, I want to talk with you about some of the partnerships as well, which again, Best Starts for Kids Champions is, I believe, what they are. Can you give me some background information on where, and give us and our listeners, viewers, background information on where the Best Starts for Kids initiative sits within King County? Which departments are you under? Just kind of that whole, I guess you'd say the back scene of where Best Starts is and where you sit in the whole King County infrastructure.
I can kick that off. So Best Starts for Kids, we fall across the Department of Community and Human Services, as well as Public Health. And then all of those various strategies I mentioned, if you go on our Best Starts for Kids site, we have a blog, we're on the county site. You can actually see all the awards that have been made. So within those departments, as I mentioned, there's P to 5, there's 5 to 24, there's our Communities of Opportunities team, there's our homelessness contracts, all the wide variety of contracts are out there. So within those two departments, all of our team members, we fall on various teams. So as I mentioned, for myself, within Stopping School to Prison Pipeline, with me being in DCHS, I'm also on our education employment resources team. So what's really great about that is since we're on various teams within our departments, we get a wide variety of expertise where we get to learn from folks who are well seasoned within King County to really add to this levy.
That's great description, and really we have the opportunity to be both funders and policymakers, which is kind of a unique spot within the county to think about both of those things. In terms of funding, last year, we funded over 280 organizations in 2019 and over 480 programs. So spanning across 2 departments, but really across the whole county.
Okay, now when I say community partners, again, referring to them as Best Starts for Kids champions, let's talk about who some of these community partners are, what community partners look like, and the role that community partners Best Starts for Kids champions play in this partnership.
Yeah, I can kick that one off. So really a huge range of community partners. And so again, we're all across King County. If you look at where dollars have been distributed, where work is happening, where we have partnerships, ranging from really north and east all the way down to South King County, rural and unincorporated areas, as well as metropolitan areas. So really a very, very diverse span of programming happening through our amazing partners. And so what you'll see is that about 50% of our programming is focused on those early years. So birth to 5, prenatal to 5. Really, we've got some great prenatal services like Open Arms, prenatal services, and everything from meeting basic needs to really a more focused programming like youth development programming. So then we go into youth development. We've got communities of opportunity. Reginald, what would you add there?
Yeah, one thing I'd really like to add there is in terms of our funding, we've really tried to focus in and hone in on the areas and the community partners, as you talked about, the Best Starts for Kids champions that have not always been at the table. That goes into our RFP process, our request for proposal, or RFX, because there's multiple types of requests from contractors to folks doing things on a strategic level. But we really did we really pushed ourselves to bring more community partners to the table to helping us with that selection process. We did more to lower the barriers so that folks that were newer to starting nonprofits or smaller organizations could really step into that arena as much as possible, as well as even thinking about some of the requirements for the application, adjusting those a bit so that, for instance, if English wasn't someone's first language, they weren't going to be highly docked on their application for something like that. So again, we really want it to be about community as much as possible, and from our community partners spanning across all throughout the county, as well as being folks who, again, haven't traditionally always been at the table. We've really tried to spread things out.
And I think that goes into then our partnership model, which looks really different from how contracting has historically been. So application has been a huge part, but also we've moved to different models for how we actually partner in the long run and how we value outcomes and what we think of as outcomes, and moving away from these really strict ideas of what evidence looks like to understand that evidence can look like a lot of different things and success can look like a lot of different things. And so we actually have a large percentage of our partners who have never received county level funding before. This is their first time.
All right. Once again, you are listening to Street Beat. The beat of the city this week is definitely the Best Starts for Kids virtual summit taking place all week long. A number of different events going on. And we got more guests joining us, and my guests joining me right now are the hosts of this event, Reginald Cole and Jessica Cafferty. We got a couple of minutes left. So I want to, before we go on, we're going to bring a few more guests on and talk about what's going to be going on all week. But before we do that, I definitely want to give both of you an opportunity for final words here. And then just share what you want to share about the summit. And if there's anything in particular that you have as a personal highlight, I know the match game is something I'm looking forward to checking out. Mention that too. So again, our hosts, Reginald Cole and Jessica Cafferty, hosts of the first annual Best Starts for Kids virtual summit.
Reginald, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So in terms of a highlight, one thing I'm really looking forward to today is we during our preview day are doing an equity and social justice cafe conversation. So within county, we have our equity and social justice strategic plan. So throughout all of our various departments, we're continuously working to move the needle on equity. So we're going to be inviting folks in to really open up and have an open space to share and discuss. I'll be one of the facilitators for those conversations. So anyone that can join, click a little Zoom hand wave, and I'll look to wave back at you. And I think the last thing I would share is when I think about Best Starts for Kids, the thing that really attracted me was thinking about doing this work from start to end, working across all age groups. I personally, at a young age, knew that I wanted to make a difference, but knew that it wasn't just going to be in pockets. So was really proud to see this initiative move forward and span across folks' lifetime, and really and looking forward to see the impacts down the road.
And Jessica, thank you, Reginald.
Yeah, I would echo what Reginald said. I think before I moved into childcare policy, I was actually a program manager for an investment area with Best Starts, and got to know my programs really well, and just sort of continued to feel like it was an honor to get to steward the program and to support awesome work that was already happening. Now it's really exciting thinking about the summit to think about like the virtual gallery walks, being able to just kind of get a snapshot of what all of these different programs are doing, because there's some pretty incredible work happening across the county, innovative work, and work that is like, deeply meaningful to kids and families and community. So really excited to see some of that. I think Reginald and I both were kind of heartbroken when we had to cancel the summit, which turned out to be very much the right choice back in early March. Mm-hmm. COVID-19 was still brand new. And I think what has been really amazing as a highlight over the last couple of months is to see the programs that Best Starts partners with adapt and think about how to change what they do and enhance what they do and respond in a time where like we could just shut down, and instead they have revamped programming and really shown up in these beautiful ways. And so the fact that we've figured out a way, our amazing Carrie Wade has figured out a way to pull together a virtual summit so that we can celebrate that work and learn from one another. I'm just thrilled.
All right. Well, you know what? Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Again, preview day. We'll be hearing from y'all all week long. I'll be tuning in, and we'll be getting updates and kind of what's going to be going on the whole day from you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of that myself. Look forward to hearing from you for the rest of the week. We're going to get to some more of our guests coming up on preview day today. Hey, thank y'all for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, let me do this. Is Lalita on here with us?
Yes, thank you. I am on. I'm Lalita Uppala, the Executive Director for India Association of Western Washington. And
that's what I was hoping for. I want to make sure that I say your last name correctly. Can you say it for me again, please, Lalita?
It's Uppala.
Uppala. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is exciting. Again, this is the Best Starts for Kids King County initiative. This is the virtual summit. This is preview day. And be here all the way through Friday. Bunch of things going on. And this is an opportunity for you to find out more about the networking that's taking place here, the peer-to-peer learning. So what that means, peer-to-peer learning, and you're going to hear a lot of these, I call them $25 words. They're great if you know what folks are talking about, but if you don't, sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the jargon. So folks who look like you, sound like you, talk like you, maybe your age group, peer-to-peer learning. You'll also get updates on what's next for King County's Best Starts for Kids. And joining me again, my guest, and what you're doing, you're a gallery walk partner. So let's talk about what a gallery walk partner is, Lita. What does that mean, a gallery walk partner?
It's about looking through the registration schedule for the Best Starts for Kids Summit and identifying what are the different opportunities that they are offering in the breakout rooms or on Zoom sessions. This is a virtual summit now. And so each of us partners who are showing key learnings or key strategies to address parent-child relationships, to address early learning, to address taboos within our culture on accessing the right resources for our children who may be going through some developmental challenges. And so in our own gallery walk, what we are doing is we have our wellness instructor who is going to be doing an express yoga and breathing technique session, identifying the lower back and neck. Typically, young mothers do tend to have those issues where they do tend to strain their neck or their lower back. And
whoa. 1 second. I'm going to interrupt you for a second here because
Yeah.
this is not something you hear about all of the time and the relevance and important. So I'm going to say one more again. Tell us what it is that's going to be taken here. I'm hearing you talking about yoga and wellness, and I just want to back that up and have you. That I don't want that to just go by, folks, as we're talking about this summit that's going on. So break that down for us again.
Sure. So in this gallery walk, we are addressing self-care to our parents, our young parents who do tend to take on a lot these days, particularly with the stress and anxiety around COVID, having children home, staying in multi-generational homes, in a cooped up space, not able to take your kids out. There is a stress that you add to yourself that can exhibit itself on your back or on your neck. And our wellness instructor is going to provide a demo for an express session where you can take 5 minutes out of your day and really work on self-care for yourself as a parent, because you may not get more than that in the 24-hour day. So that's one aspect of what we are doing.
Now, I again, this is something that you may not even know that you need, because the stress kind of builds up over time. And if you've been dealing with a lot of things, you may not exactly know why you're feeling this way. Why is it important for folks to stop down, take a minute, and recognize the self-awareness and self-care that you're talking about and the methods that you're going to share with folks about what they can do to be better at being themselves?
Right. So we believe that all parents want to do the best for their children. And in that wanting to do best for your child, you end up spending a lot of your own personal energy and your strength in taking care of your family. But the one thing that most moms in our culture we notice neglect is taking care of themselves. Nutrition, self-care, just personal growth. These are things that mothers in our culture tend, and in many other cultures we are noticing as we are learning from our peers, tend to ignore pretty much. So a very big part of our Best Starts for Kids, Healthy Starts and Innovation program for our Kaleidoscope Play and Learn program that we conduct, thanks to Best Starts for collaborating with us on that, is to focus on that parent-child relationship, but to remind us parents that there is a time in the day you can take out to address your personal health and care, because that reflects back on the relationship that you develop with your child. It's about showing your child to take care of yourself. And it's also about giving yourself that time out that gets you time to reflect on what next are you going to do with your child, or how are you going to react when your child challenges you.
And again, this is Lalita Upala. That would make you a Best Starts for Kids champion and the India Association of Western Washington Executive Director, Lalita Upala. Lalita, can you give us a little bit of information on your background, please?
Yes, of course. I I was a public health consultant in my years when I worked, but 15 years back when I stayed home to take care of my children, I started volunteering with India Association of Western Washington. And for the last 15 years, I have transitioned in several different roles, worked with youth, worked with seniors. India Association, or IAWW as we call it, identifies and addresses basic, urgent, and emergent needs of our community across all demographics, from seniors to families to youth to toddlers, and also brings in civic engagement, voter registration, voter education, making sure we identify difficult conversations in our community, identifying racism within the South Asian community, genderism, colorism. So we are the platform for our Asian Indian community that addresses needs on a secular basis, regardless of your religion, gender, or identity.
And you know, Lolita, you talked a little bit about this earlier, the impact of COVID-19 and the stress just from a number of different things. Can you speak from personal experience about how this pandemic has impacted your communities, our communities? And again, there may be things that just aren't sitting right with folks that they can't put their finger on as to why am I feeling this way? Is it just me?
Absolutely. As I worked since March, and as we started switching all our in-person programs to online and started meeting our community's needs online, from our staff to our volunteers to our community, there is one common challenge that we are identifying, and that is not recognizing what quarantine does to your wellness and how it impacts your stress and anxiety. We notice that our community is working 24/7. We notice that unemployment is on the rise. Many of our service industry workers are losing jobs. Our small businesses are struggling. Likely, some of our small restaurants make maybe $40 a day. Is that enough to survive anywhere?
Wow.
And the challenges that our communities are going through in terms of our small businesses to apply for federal grants or to apply for any relief packages, it's overwhelming to go through that kind of paperwork at a time when you want to identify the best sources of revenue and just keep working at it, and applying for a grant or a relief package is not really on the top of your head. So there's definitely a fatigue and inertia that is stepping out of COVID, along with how do I take care of myself and my family? How do I stay safe? What do I need? And can I afford to get all the PPE that I need to stay safe? Do I not have to make that 150 a day at minimum to at least stay afloat for the month? Am I looking at shutting down my business? What am I going to do as an immigrant here? I have nothing to fall back on. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of my family? Forget about higher education for my kids and healthcare for myself.
Wow, that's a great explanation, Lolita. Again, my guest is Lolita Upala, and your virtual gallery walk, again, as a Best Starts champion. When does this take place?
It is tomorrow, Tuesday. And it is, I'm just going to give you quickly the timing for it. I'm sorry, I've been amiss on that. But we have our gallery walk is at noon tomorrow at the Best Starts for Kids Summit under IAWW, offering express yoga, offering how to make nutritious express snacks, and some great ways to provide early childhood education to your child.
And, you know, again, there's so much to talk about, the impact and the importance of early childhood education. We know this is, they say birth to 5, but it's actually prenatal as well. when you're talking about early childhood education. I want to give you the opportunity for final words here. We're almost out of time. Seems like we just got started, but we're going to move on. Today's preview day. We've got some more guests joining us. Lolita, this sounds amazing and wonderful. Thank you for sharing this information with us. All of our listeners tune at 12 o'clock tomorrow. But Lolita, opportunity here for final words before we go. Maybe something you're excited about, or just, again, whatever you want to say about the Best Kids Virtual Summit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I just want to remind our listeners that these kind of partnerships are only possible by collaborative funding and support from King County's Best Starts for Kids. This is a levy that will be coming up for vote next year. And we have to remind ourselves of the value of these kind of dollars into each and every one of our communities, especially in the most underserved and vulnerable communities that are out there, to just remind yourself of who Best Starts for Kids is and how it addresses early childhood, parent-child relationship, challenges to families. And remember that come to our summit tomorrow. You can find us on Best Starts for Kids Facebook page as well as on their website. And if you have any questions, reach out to any one of us partners. We are more than willing to talk to you about it.
All right. Well, you know what? I can, it's my neck and my back. So I can.
Well, reach out to us for sure tomorrow.
We'll make it happen. Thank you, Lolita, for joining us. And thank you again for being a Best Starts for Kids champion.
I would always want to be that. Thank you.
Again, Lolita Upala, she will be hosting the gallery walk tomorrow at noon from the India Association of Western Washington. And she said the IAWW. But I'm going to say the whole thing, India Association of Western Washington, because it's easy for these acronyms to get caught up. She also mentioned something called PPE, which may be familiar to folks, but if not, personal protective equipment. That's what we're talking about here. So we've got more guests joining us. Again, this is the preview show. If you're just tuning in, it's me, Tony B. This morning's edition of Street Beat welcomes you to the first annual Best Start for Kids Summit, Communities Building Impact. We're excited to welcome you this week for a whole week of networking, peer-to-peer learning, and updates of what's next for King County's Best Starts for Kids. We're going to have interviews, other Best Starts for Kids champions like Lolita Upala, staff, community partners, session speakers. You're going to have the opportunity to learn about the incredible work that is being done here to support our babies, the kids, the youth, and the families in King County. And I believe I have some other guests joining me. I'm just going to kind of do a roll call here and see who's here with me. And I'll start with Farah Rivera. Are you here, Farah?
Good morning.
All right. Is it Farah or Farah?
It's Farah.
Okay. Farah is joining us. And Jamie Best. Jamie, are you here?
Yes, good morning. I'm here. Thank you so much for having us here.
All right. Let's see. Cammy Goldhammer. Cammy, are you with us?
No, Cammy's not here this morning.
Okay, Cammy's not here. And I like to get names right. Is it Rokia?
Yeah, very, very close. It's Rokia.
Rokia Jones. Good morning, Rokia.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And a couple more I want to check on here. Margarita Sellis.
She, I believe, is in the waiting room. I think she's trying to get in.
Okay. My producer's shaking his head no. So we might be having some technical difficulties.
Okay.
And Cynthia Turrieta.
Also not on the call this morning.
Okay. Well, I know for sure we've got Farah. Did I just get that wrong again, Farah?
That works. That's close enough. That works.
and Jamie and Rokia. Let's start by having each of you and Farah. We'll start with you. Give us a little bit of background information on yourself.
Yeah, of course. I'm a licensed home birth midwife. Practice in 3 different states, including Washington. and now the director of the perinatal and breastfeeding program at Open Arms Perinatal Services.
And also, let's just keep this going, Jamie. Let's talk a little bit about who you are and what you're doing.
Yes, so I am a former home visitor and birth doula and mother of 3. I'm currently managing the community-based outreach doula home visiting team, which includes Rokia and Margarita, which I'm hoping she'll make it to the call. And yes, that's what I'm doing currently right now.
And Rokia.
Hi, yes, thank you. My name is Rokia Jones. I am a certified doula, a certified lactation educator, and peer counselor. I am also a master's in public administration candidate, and I am currently working as a community-based outreach doula, serving the African American community at Open Arms Perinatal Services.
All right. I'm going to kick some statistics here and some background information. Again, we're talking about the Best Starts for Kids virtual summit taking place. This is preview day. Y'all are again, part of a discussion that's going to take place, understanding the importance of culturally responsive care in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum in the first year. Now, this is a big deal. This is going to be a great and everybody may not identify with this, but at some point, everybody has to. If you were born, this is an important, So the Maternal Morbidity Review Panel reported that 60% of all maternal deaths were preventable. That's bananas. Wow. Providers from all disciplines who serve clients prenatally often find themselves not having all the information or resources needed to address questions related to pregnancy, birth, or postpartum in the first year. So in this session, you're going to learn from a panel of experts about the current state of maternal health and information to encourage healthy birth outcomes and breastfeeding. Y'all are going to talk specifically and focus on communities with the most devastating birth outcomes and focus on culturally responsive services available for your clients. Let's talk about what that means. And one of you just take this on, culturally responsible services for clients. What does that mean? And explain to us why this is such a critical issue. And I can hear from all 3 of you if one of you just want to take the lead to start with.
I'm going to jump in just to talk a little bit about the program, and I'm going to let the folks doing the work hold the bulk of this conversation. But culturally responsive care within Open Arms, particularly in the program that some of us are working in, really means that families are receiving care by folks who are trained professionals with experience and who come from that same community. So you are receiving care from someone who understands you, your cultural experiences, background, and systems navigation, and has a full picture of what you're facing as you're entering into medical systems in the perinatal period. So we specifically have home visitors and doulas who serve the American Indian Alaska Native, African American, Somali, and Spanish-speaking communities. And we know that the rates of these particular communities have been, the numbers show what's happening right now. I think that the goal for having community care is really being able to mitigate some of the circumstances that families face as they're moving into these systems. And even more so, we see what's happening with families under COVID. So I want to let Rokia and Farah get a chance to speak about the work that they're doing.
All right. Farah?
Okay. Thanks, Rokia. So the perinatal and the lactation support program are 2 programs that are currently uplifting and actually started right before COVID. And before I kind of go into what our partners are doing and what our lactation support collaborative is doing, I just want to state that a lot of the pivoting that Open Arms has done really exemplifies the resilience that we have within our BIPOC communities, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people of color. Our perinatal collaborative consists of 8 partners, and these partners include API Chaya, Journey Midwife Services, Rainier Valley Midwives, the Pacific Islander Health Board, Center for Indigenous Midwifery, Global Maternity Services, and Generations Midwifery. With that being said, I think the question of like, well, why do you have all of these partners, and what are you folks doing in regarding to the perinatal to 5 years? And what we know about maternity care, what we know about pregnancy is that we're working against a lot of barriers and a lot of systems, and people need help. And when we're looking at the handful of communities that are having devastating numbers in maternal morbidity, it does make sense in order to partner up with organizations who are already working within their communities. And like Jamie had mentioned, representing and being in community, we know that we have really good retention rates where people don't have to explain what their cultures are, and that in itself helps to mitigate a lot of barriers. Outside of the perinatal collaborative, we also have a lactation support program. And what's really wonderful about that is that with the report that had come out in the beginning of 2019, one of the solutions that they had identified in the report was the gaps in community care, especially in postpartum. And knowing that the morbidity rates of the 60% of morbidity rates happening within the first year, when we're looking at lactation and breastfeeding, when we're allowing ourselves and our programs to be with communities within that first year, it helps with screening people, it helps with giving them care and breaking down those barriers and allowing for that pathway to be created through our programs and open arms.
All right. Rokia, you want to continue?
Yeah, thank you so much. Both of my colleagues spoke so eloquently, and I think thank you all. You're representing our program so well. And I think the only thing that I would add really is that with my role as a community-based outreach doula is that I am the front line when we're talking about how do we directly impact the outcomes, these birth outcomes, the atrocities that are happening within these communities of color. Sorry, I'm in a park and there's a plane going by, but yeah, how do we directly mitigate these outcomes? It starts with home visitors such as myself. Through home visiting, we are mitigating the isolation. We are mitigating the information gap. We are mitigating the lack of trust and support and fear that a lot of families experience when they're walking into their birthing experience and thereafter. And I have many stories of, just asking providers for really simple things that made all the difference in my clients' care. And, what we know is that the average medical provider only has about 15, 30 minutes tops to meet with a family. And I myself as a home visitor I spend years working with the family and getting to understand what are their unique needs, causes, obstacles, desires for themselves and for the growth and development of their child. And that's a really special and unique role that I get to fulfill. And I feel really honored to be able to be a staffed doula. That's a very rare thing in the United States, probably across the world. That I myself am able to be cared for and have a living wage and to be able to show up specifically for my community in this way. And so, yeah. So thank you.
All right. Again, my guests, Jamie Bess, Farah Rivera, Rokia Jones from Open Arms. Their discussion, the state of mental health, understanding the importance of culturally responsive care in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum in the first year. I have so many questions, and we're like almost out of time already. So folks are going to have to go to this breakout session and find out more information, the state of mental health. But just for my own edification, because, there's sometimes you don't understand if you don't ask. Now, perinatal services, is that different than prenatal? Am I just not understanding? perinatal services. Is that, help me out here, somebody, Jamie?
Sure. Perinatal is different from prenatal.
Okay.
Perinatal encompasses pregnancy, the actual labor and delivery, and then the time afterwards when that newborn baby and parent are home, what that new family is experiencing. And our program runs to the children's second birthday, and then we connect them to other supportive home visiting programs. And throughout that whole time frame, families are being connected to other community supports. And we actually have one more person. I don't know if there's time for her to say anything, but Margarita was able to make it into the call, and she's also one of our home visitors and been with the program working with the Spanish-speaking community for quite some time.
Awesome. You know what? I'm just going to break the rules. So if somebody gets mad, they can just get mad at me.
Thank you.
So
it's your show. It's your show. You can do the thing.
All right. Well, I'm going outside the lines here because Margarita, you're with us now. Let's start with Margarita. Let's get some background information on you before we start here and who you are.
Okay, hi. Well, I'm a Spanish speaking person. I came to this country like 25 years ago, and I'm from Peru, and so I see all the ladies from all these countries from South America and Central America that speak Spanish, basically, and most of the time is the only language they speak. So it's so super important. Besides all these huge reasons that my partners said, the language barrier that there is on my clients, and just to be there and be for them in those moments in the hospital when they don't know what they're talking, what's going on. And now that they don't have the interpreters there since April, I think that being stopped. Everything is on the phone, and sometimes the phone doesn't work.
Right.
So it's so hard for them. So to have a doula that they can rely to, and that the doula can explain them what's going on, and have somebody to support them is so super important, and that makes a huge difference too, because as soon they appear with a doula, the treatment is totally different than a person that doesn't have a doula, because basically many times they do whatever they think is right, and they're not making sure that the client know exactly what they're doing or why they're doing stuff. So it's so important just to have a doula that can be support for them, and be for them, not for the hospital, but for them.
And Margarita, if you wouldn't mind, this entire conversation has been in English, and your outreach is critically important to people who English may be a second language, or it may not even be a language that's interpreted very well. Would you mind explaining in Spanish some of the things that we've talked about already, specifically what this panel is about? You hear me saying what it is, that you focus on culturally responsive services. So for anyone right now who might feel more comfortable listening to this explanation in Spanish, would you just mind talking about it again in Spanish for us, please?
Sure. Hola, mi nombre es Margarita. Yo trabajo para la organización sin fines de lucro Open Arms aquí en Seattle. Y yo soy una doula que trabaja con todas las señoras que hablan español, y nosotros ayudamos gratuitamente a las señoras desde que están embarazadas de 12 semanas para arriba hasta que el bebé cumple 2 años. El servicio es totalmente gratuito y está para cualquier persona básicamente que quiera el servicio y que tenga bajos recursos, es muy fácil ser aceptada en el programa, solo que hay veces no tenemos tantos cupos. La ayudamos en todo, le damos educación mientras que están embarazadas y apoyo. Y cuando dan a luz estamos con ustedes y abogamos por sus derechos y por todo lo que ustedes desean, y estamos ahí con ustedes 100% en todo el momento, hasta cuando se alivia. Y entonces ustedes no van a estar solas en ningún momento. Tienen todo el apoyo de nosotras, y de ahí le seguimos las visitas en casa. Cada 2 semanas hay una visita al mes, más o menos son 2 o 3 visitas. Y le seguimos hasta cuando el bebé cumple 2 años. Es muy importante que se comuniquen a la organización cuando sepan que están embarazadas, para poder conseguir la dula y tener todo este apoyo. Bueno, ahorita si ustedes llaman, le vamos a dar mucho más información personalmente. Ok, gracias. Ok.
We got it in.
Sí.
You know, I would like to give everyone an opportunity here for final words as well, and we're obviously going to share, you know, when can folks join in. But again, as Best Starts for Kids champions, if there's information that you'd just like to share, whatever that may be, I want to give each of you the opportunity here for that. And I will start again with breakout session presenter, Open Arms Perinatal Services, a director of Perinatal and Breastfeeding Collaborative, Farah Rivera.
Thank you so much. It's a long title. It's a lot to say. It's a real big mouthful. And if I could literally talk all day about our amazing programs, because what we do know is when we're thinking about our community and the work that we do, we really stand in arms with them. I feel like a lot of the things that we are doing, we have to almost create like an army in order to protect our families. And it may seem a little hostile when I say that, but it's what our families face every day. To bring a baby into a world in a current situation that we're in, and not just speaking about the pandemic, but we're thinking about what families have to face and fight every day when they're in the hospitals, or even just being pregnant and not being able to get the necessities of what they might need in pregnancy. I feel like the acknowledgement of even just having that conversation is extremely important, and why I feel like the panel that we have and that we're representing is starting something. I feel like the actual start and conversations of bringing this conversation public and having more people a part of those conversations is extremely important. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that conversation goes tomorrow, and having it being broadcasted and having everyone acknowledge that this is more than just a conversation. I feel like we're just starting something right now. The hope is to kind of like send little sparks of individuals to also put actions behind what the conversations and things that our organization is doing.
All right, thank you. And Best Starts for Kids champion breakout session presenter, Rokia Jones. Final words from you, please.
Yeah, I am just so super excited to be able to talk more about the work that's being done. You know, obviously, I shared earlier that I'm working on my master's in public administration, so I've been learning a great deal about public management. And when I think about it, I honestly feel that BSK levy is the best thing that the county could have done to really take care of county citizens, and has been a wonderful investment in the overall health and well-being of people in the Seattle area and South King County, on all the way into Tacoma even sometimes. And it's been really a great honor to be working and around during this time to see just all the amazing work that's being done, and to actually see other providers like myself totally supported in that work. A lot of us have a long history in doing community-based work before our current roles. And we all know that those folks aren't always supported. A lot of times that work is done for free. So to have BSK really uplift us, build us, help us strengthen our foundations has been so powerful. And so I'm super excited to be on this panel and share about how that's growing communities, how it's helping grow babies. So thank you.
And thank you, Rokia. You pump my energy level up. And also joining us, again, Best Starts for Kids champion, breakout session presenter, and then also shared this information in Spanish with us, Margarita Celis. Am I saying your last name correctly? Celis?
Yes, it's Celis. It's
Celis.
fine.
Okay.
Yes.
And opportunity for final words from you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have the support of BSK to for us to do the work that we do, and is really is have that such an impact on the communities that we work. And I'm looking forward for tomorrow for the panel that we have, and hopefully more people know about our work, and they connect with us. And well, thank you again for the support from BSK.
And thank you. And last but not least, Jamie Best. Jamie, thank all of you for joining us here. And Jamie, I want to give you an opportunity here to just kind of close this out for us.
Thank you so much. As you hear the wealth of information and knowledge and experience, and what I would love to name is experience within systems and supporting people through systems, have absolutely created this dynamic group of folks. And I'm really hopeful that people will be able to tune into our conversation tomorrow. Again, it's the state of maternal health, understanding the importance of culturally responsive care in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum in the first year. It's the 18th, Tuesday from 1:30 to 2:30. And we are really, really excited to have this space, and very grateful to BSK that there's this opportunity to really have this conversation about life and death. Literally, someone birthing us is the reason why every single one of us is here.
Yes.
And the conversation has been so undervalued, and the actual roles of folks who are supporting people have been undervalued. And so having this opportunity is so vital, and we're really, really excited to get out and have this conversation with everyone.
Well, thank you, Jamie. I mean, what you said, I said at the beginning, if this is so incredibly important, if you are here, it has impacted you. I mean,
100%.
And just a great conversation to take place. Y'all know I went overtime with y'all, right? But
thank you. We appreciate you, Tony. Thank you so much.
Just great information.
Do like to talk.
Great information. Again, tomorrow, 1:30 to 2:30. Again, this is Tony B. This is preview day. We are kicking off a live broadcast for the Best Starts for Kids Virtual Summit. You heard a little bit today from the Best Starts for Kids champions, virtual gallery walk hosts, session speakers, community partners. This is it, the first annual Best Starts for Kids Summit, Communities Building Impact. This is going on all week long, all the way through Friday. We're gonna be here through Thursday, 9 o'clock in the morning, giving you updates. Some more information. I'll be checking out these panel discussions and talking about them. So I'll be talking a little bit about what y'all do on Wednesday morning after y'all do it on Tuesday. All right. And
right, exciting.
So just really looking forward to it. Wow, there's just so much more I want to say because so much is going on. But I will remind you once again, because we've tomorrow. From 12 to 1, India Association of Western Washington. You heard from Lalita Apala. She's going to be here, or she's going to be on, and she'll be talking, again about, you'll be doing yoga, some of the aches and pains that you have that you may not understand why this is happening. You'll be getting stress relievers and information about what you can do and the healing benefits of massage for overused muscles in the neck and the back, and essential oils, to warm and cool and invigorate the spirit. That's 1 to 2 tomorrow from 1:30 to 2:30. Open arms. Again, this panel specifically focuses on communities with the most devastating birth outcomes. I mentioned earlier, 60% of all maternal deaths preventable. And focusing on culturally responsive services that are available to their clients. That is it. That's all the time that I have. That's going to do it for the kid. It's me, Tony B. Tune in every morning at 9 o'clock. We start this off and tell you what's going on for the rest of the day. Let me not forget Reginald Cole and Jessica Cafferty, who are going to be the host for this event. They'll be here with you starting tomorrow. Tune in. Critical information.